GPU prices are crashing along with cryptocurrency. Is this what we've all been waiting for, or are our hopes going to be dashed once again? Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. Wow, crazy things are going on in the graphics card market right now. Pour yourself a stiff drink. We're going to go through everything going on, including a revival of the used market, cryptocurrency, miners selling off graphics cards. Is this what we've been waiting for? Let's jump into it. Before that, this video is sponsored by VIP SCD Key. Say goodbye to crazy expensive Windows 10 licenses and that terrible Activate Windows 10 watermark. Right now, use the links in the video description, head over to VIP SCD Key, and get a Windows 10 Home or Pro OEM license for a great price. Pick your product license, then use the PC Builder discount code PC25 for an additional 25% off. Go to the activation settings on your PC, put in the code, and boom, you have a fully licensed Windows 10 for a crazy low price, which can be upgraded for free to Windows 11. Use the links in the video description below. Let's take a look at the current market pricing. Now, NVIDIA RTX 3000 series cards continues to be the fact that the only place you can get them quote unquote in stock is on eBay right now. So you're gonna have to buy them off the secondary market if you want to buy one now. Radeon RX 6000 series cards, however, we've got a lot of them in stock on Amazon, at Newegg, and Micro Center. I've pulled pricing here from Newegg because it's the one place you can get them from anywhere, and it has the cheapest prices right now in the US on these graphics cards. But let's take a look at the Tom's Hardware eBay average GPU price tracking data for the RTX 3000 series cards, and you can see that since November, the price of an RTX 3090 has come down. The average sale price has come down 11% from $2,936 to $2,609. That's a pretty sizable drop off there. Similarly, we've got like the RTX 3080 has dropped off 6%, the 3070 has dropped off 9%, the 3060 Ti has dropped off 8%, and the 3060 has gone down 5%. Now listen, if you said to me, hey Jason, I can go on eBay right now and I can find an RTX 3060 for cheaper than $711. Yes, you absolutely can find them for cheaper than that. And I'm looking through, these are actual sales over the last week. You can find them. Here's one for $600, $674, $625. So the prices for these GPUs, particularly the RTX 3060, continue to decline across the board. Similarly, the Radeon GPUs are also showing a decline. Now, on the high end, the prices are fluctuating a little bit, mostly because Newegg had a lot of these in November on sale, part of Black Friday. They simply don't have the 6900 XT and 6800 XT on the same kind of sales anymore. So the prices have come up a little bit, but the big cards to look at right now is like the Radeon RX 6600, 19% drop in the price from $559 in November, cheapest one you could get, to $450. Yes, I know cheaper models were coming in, but they would vanish immediately. You can go on Newegg right now and get this for $450. In fact, I got Newegg up right here. They've got the ASRock model. In fact, I've got this model, great model. If you want to get one of these cards, by the way, it doesn't matter which model you get. The coolers on these effectively don't matter. They're all the same. Just don't get the BioStar one. So here you go, $449. Let's call it $460 with $10 shipping. There's an MSI card for $480. The Asus, actually, this is the other crazy thing, is that because of the cryptocurrency mining crash, which we'll get to in a second, we now see graphics cards in stock that we haven't seen in a long time, like the RTX 2060. This is a 12 gigabyte version, one of the ones that they relaunched back in November for $500. I wouldn't buy it for that. It's not worth it versus the 6600, but we'll get to that later. But also other cards like, for instance, the GTX 1660 and 1660 Super are also back in stock. Again, silly pricing, but because they're such good mining cards, miners were buying these up the millisecond that they were hitting the market. And now they're just sitting here. We'll go into all that in just a moment. If you're lucky enough to live near a Micro Center, of course, you can get the RX 6600 for $430. If we just go ahead and look at the curve, yes, big spike up as the price of cryptocurrency went from its low in June, July, and spiked up to a high in November and then December. You can see the graphics card pricing. Now, graphics card pricing, remember, it's a lagging indicator. So pricing for Ethereum goes up, graphics card prices then go up following it. You can see that happen. And now that crypto's been crashing for over 2 months now, it has gone down substantially on all these cards across the board. Well, what about AMD and NVIDIA's low-end GPU launch? And that is, for instance, the AMD launched the RX 6500 XT and NVIDIA launched the RTX 3050. Well, failings of those cards aside, and I've made my opinion on that card known, I would not recommend it. I think there are used alternatives and I'm really excited about them. We'll get to that in just a moment. Leaving all the value judgment of that card aside, yes, these cards are in stock right now for $260 to stupid prices. prices, but I would buy one around 260 if you were going to buy one and you don't want to go for my alternatives, which I would strongly recommend you get instead. I will say, however, the value judgment of the card aside, the card being on the market itself, just that fact, yes, I believe has begun to alleviate some of the shortage. Would it have alleviated more of the shortage had this GPU actually been a good GPU? Abso-freaking-lutely. So I'm not letting AMD off the hook at all. I'm simply taking a step back, looking at the meta of it and saying, yes, that GPU, as crappy as it is, being on the market does help us. The NVIDIA RTX 3050, why is it not on this page? Because it pretty much doesn't exist. It was just another one of a long line of paper launches by NVIDIA, probably most likely a PR stunt because they saw that AMD was going to launch the 6500 XT. This is what folks like Tom over at Moore's Law is Dead have theorized, and they've talked a lot about this with their sources. You know, NVIDIA at this point really just isn't trying to help. They're mostly focused on releasing stupid SKUs of their current cards in order to squeeze out another $100 from you. So listen, I don't want to get in the morality play. Both these companies are out there to make money. I'm on the side of the consumer. This card on the market, RX 6500 XT, does help consumers a little bit. Again, would have helped a lot more had this card not totally sucked. But NVIDIA's play is mostly a PR stunt, so I wouldn't be out there looking for it right now. So why are graphics card prices coming down? How far will they come? And how long will it take to get us to where we want to be? Let's take a quick look. The simple fact is that cryptocurrency, specifically Ethereum, has gone through an extended crash since about the end of October, beginning of November 2021 until now. Now, yes, in the last week or so, it's recovered a little bit of its value, but as you can see here, November 8th, it was up at $4,735. It crashed back down in December. We were looking at this to $4,000 last time we did a GPU update. And now, although it did crater down to about $2,400, it is back at the time of filming right now. It's at about $3,100. So just from December, it's lost 25% of its value. And from its high point in November, it's lost a lot more, almost double. Remember, of course, Ethereum is a currency that you can mine with a GPU. So what does that mean? That means the cryptocurrency miners have been buying up all the GPUs for stupidly high prices, and gamers have been out there without anything to buy unless you want to spend and want to compete with them. And what does that look like? It looks like things like this, where people have these giant rigs of graphics cards that just sit there and mine Ethereum all day. This is a 3060 Ti and a 1660 Super rig. You can see here, here you go. Here's all your For the Win 3 cards, your EVGA 3080, 3090 For the Win 3 cards. There you go. You've been looking for one of those? He's got 5 or 6 of them right there. And then, of course, they build these crazy cooling systems for them. And this is taking place all over the place. Here's more EVGA For the Win cards. You want to know where all those cards are? They're in mining rigs right now. That's where they are. And here's even more of them. So this is where your graphics cards have been going. That's why every time the price of Ethereum has spiked up, graphics cards have gotten more expensive. And every time the price of Ethereum has cratered down like it did last July, the price of graphics cards goes down. Now, graphics card pricing is a lagging indicator. The price of cryptocurrency is what's called a leading indicator. What does that mean? It means that as the price goes down for Ethereum, the price of graphics cards does come down, but it takes a longer. It trails. It doesn't lead. And unfortunately, there are some other things we'll talk about in a moment that are preventing the prices from coming down even faster right now. But that's not the only problem that Ethereum miners have had, of course. They also have the problem that people continue to put more and more graphics cards on the Ethereum market. Remember, Ethereum has a concept built in called difficulty. That difficulty curve is there in order to prevent just massive amounts of people putting cards on the network and grabbing a whole lot of Ethereum to the point where it would devalue the currency. And so every time somebody puts another graphics card or an ASIC miner on the overall Ethereum network, the difficulty of mining the next block goes up. And in 2018, graphics cards were also hard to come by. You saw a max difficulty of around 3,600. It's well over 13,000 at times, or it will be over 13,000 probably by the time I release this video. You can see that steep incline there. And if you take a look at just the last 3 months, not only has the price of Ethereum declined from about 4,800 down to 3,100 now, but they have faced an additional 16.2% increased difficulty. So the difficulty's gone up, the rewards have gone massively down, and what has that done for graphics card profitability? And this is the bellwether that I look at all the time. in order to understand where graphics card prices are going. That is the RTX 3090. What is the profit that thing makes after energy costs per day? $4.18. When we last looked at this, it was $6.48. When we looked at this the month before that, it was, I think it was like $8 or $9. It has come down by at least 50% profitability loss since that time. And during the recent crash, when this got down to $2,400 for the price of Ethereum, that went below $3 a day. Now this will fluctuate. It's a little bit more complicated than just the value of Ethereum. There's gas prices in here. So when there's periods of super high network transaction, this will go up independent somewhat of the price of Ethereum, but it gives you kind of a general milestone of the profitability of Ethereum mining right now, which overall is low. But let's talk about the thing that I'm super excited about, which is that budget gaming PC builds are back. If you didn't watch my video, I'm gonna put it right up there in the card. Why are they back? That's because used GPUs are coming into stock. Miners are selling off their lowest profitability cards, which are typically the 4GB variants of like the RX 570, RX 580. The 570 right now is making them 47 cents a day. Now let's think about this. That card is going for about $200. I've seen it lower on eBay. It would take 400 days for them mining, more than 400 days actually, because they're only making 47 cents in order to get the price of that card back. So it makes a lot more financial sense to just go ahead and sell that card on eBay, take the money, buy Ethereum with it rather than mining, because it's going to make them more money in the long run if Ethereum goes up, obviously. Of course, there are other graphics cards out there like the GTX 1070. This is a relatively powerful card for gaming still in 2022, and it's going for 80 cents profitability per day for miners. So they're liquidating these cards because, again, they can sell that card for about $300 right now, although I am seeing some go for even less than that. 1060, 6GB, RX 580, all these kinds of graphics cards. If we just take a look at the pricing, for instance, of an RX 580 right now, you can snag one for about $280 to $240 depending. Some as low as $180. And again, these are listings, sold listings just recently. There's someone that sold, this is an OEM card for $181, but you get the idea here. RX 570 similarly, anywhere from $175 up to about $240 depending. Some people are paying way too much, by the way, for an RX 570. But it gives you an idea. Now the RX 570 8GB ones are always going to go for more. So you're looking for the 4GB. You see the price difference between the 8GB and the 4GB. Yeah, get the 4GB card. The 8GB for gaming doesn't really help. It does have full PCIe by 16 bandwidth. So if it needs extra memory, it does steal some from your system instead. Not a big deal. 1070s, of course, as low as $300. I saw them even lower. These are 8GB cards. $225 here. But generally, I'm seeing them around $330 to $350 for those cards. Now, what I've done for you is I've taken all these graphics cards and using the Tech Power Up graphics card chart, I basically compared them all against an RX 570. So this is what percent of an RX 570 they are. I did RX 570 because that's the lowest end GPU that I really want to make a gaming build in 2022 around, and think about having that thing for at least a couple years, play games at low to medium settings at a very, very low budget build. Of course, there are graphics cards in here that are much more powerful than that. So I went ahead and put all the current graphics cards in, and I went and jumped in with the spot pricing on eBay or new retailing pricing in the US, and I simply sorted them by price to performance. And the ones that come out on top right now, GTX 970, RX 470, RX 570, all about the same performance, all about $200, sometimes less. And that's a card you can put in any gaming rig right now and get low to medium settings, 1080p, high on some games like, for instance, it'll run Fortnite great. You'll get 100 FPS easy at good settings, 1080p in Fortnite. Depends on the game you play, of course. Then if you want to move up a little bit, I found that like the GTX 1070, the RX 580, the GTX 980, those are all good cards to take a look at, anywhere from like $250 up to $350 you'd be spending there. The GTX 1070, the highest performance of those. And then if you want to jump up to the next tier, there's really no beating the RX 6600 brand new graphics card for about $460 at Newegg pricing, or if you want even higher performance, the RX 6600 XT pricing. GTX 1650 Super, I know I speculated, I thought that might be a good card. Turns out there's just not a lot of volume of them out there right now. They're still selling for kind of an inflated price. Same with the 1060s, 1080s, the 980 Ti's, but I will expect over time, as the value, the profitability of these graphics cards continues to decline, I would expect these cards to get better and better pricing. So take a look at that. I'm going to include a link to the spreadsheet down in the video description, because if you're in the UK, if you're in India, if you're somewhere else in the world that's not the North American market, this is not going to help you. So you can go in, you can dump in all the best pricing in here under the eBay or under the retail, and this spreadsheet will automatically figure out which one's better, and then you can sort it by clicking this triangle up here to sort by price to performance, and you can find out what are your top 10 cards in your region. So when does the rest of the market get back to normal? Well, two things have to happen. We either have to have more supply or we have to have less demand. Now, the less demand part, cryptocurrency crashing, that's helped. Certainly still too many miners just frothing at the mouth to get into this fever bubble of mining. They don't understand the dynamics. They don't understand what they're doing is not good for them financially. They're just going to do it, and no one's going to be able to stop them. So then some of the miners selling off the lower end graphics cards does help supply. The RX 6500 XT does help supply. I hate to say that because it's such a terrible graphics card. The RTX 3050 doesn't help at all because that card effectively doesn't exist. And of course, we're waiting for Intel to launch their Arc GPUs. And we were expecting on January 4th at CES to get some kind of announcement date, and we got a big bucket of nothing. A big bucket of nothing. We haven't even gotten specs. It's middle of February-ish right now, and we haven't even gotten specs for a card that's supposedly launching in the first quarter. I don't think this card is coming out probably until, in volume, probably until May or June. So that's on the supply side. So then the other big mover and shaker, and probably the big mover and shaker, is going to be Ethereum moving from what's called proof of work, where you GPU mine the currency, to what's called proof of stake, where GPU mining goes away. And the difference here is that 95% of the overall GPU mineable coins are Ethereum. That's the profitability. So 100% of the miners are going to be fighting over 5% of the profits when Ethereum goes proof of stake. I know miners think, oh, I'm just going to mine Raven coin. I'm going to mine this one. I'm going to mine that one. Look at their market caps. Go add up all their market caps. They're tiny compared to the Death Star of Ethereum. And that whole infrastructure is so overbuilt that when Ethereum goes proof of stake, GPU mining is going to go with it. All these currencies are going to be negative profitability in order to mine, and you're going to see a flood of used graphics cards hit the market. Video from last time, we went through exactly how many graphics cards worth of hashing power there are out there on the Ethereum network. It's in the tens of millions. Now, I believe in 2021, NVIDIA and AMD combined shipped about 41 million new GPUs. You can check me on that number, but somewhere in that range. So we're looking about almost a year's worth of GPUs are sitting out there in mining rigs right there. That's one of the things we're waiting for. And of course, once we go to proof of stake, there will be no miners out there buying graphics cards. In fact, they'll be selling all their graphics cards. So it's going to kind of have a double whammy effect in favor of gamers. Of course, that's going to happen sometime in June, we hope, of 2022. That's when the difficulty bomb is set to go off right now. As you can see in the merge, they haven't really set a date except for the difficulty bomb. Now they can push the difficulty bomb back. They did it in December. They moved it to here. I'm seeing a lot of stuff happen in terms of the infrastructure getting built out where I feel very confident it's going to be by this summer. They've got the test nets have been up and running. They've gone through several iterations of them. I compared it to game development last time. It's like they are in kind of the later stage of beta development right now. So if you're looking to wait, this is probably when the graphics card market will get better. Let's talk about one potentially negative consequence of NVIDIA and AMD raising their prices in order to squeeze out the scalpers and squeeze as much profit back. Now, at the beginning of the graphics card crisis, scalpers were buying everything up for relatively MSRP cards, and they were reselling them double, triple the price. Well, AMD, NVIDIA, the board partners, they got smart after a while. They're like, hey, why should the scalpers be making that money? We'll just sell our cards at a even higher price, and we'll take that money from the scalpers and we'll put it into our own pockets. And on the one hand, that's probably maybe a smart business move. On the other hand, though, on the tail end of this, as we want the graphics card market to go back to what we might consider, you and I consider normal, the problem is that the retailers now are having to buy these cards at these higher inflated prices, and they're not going to have as much incentive to cut prices on the graphics card when everything does start to crater. They're going to be stuck with a whole lot of GPUs that they bought from distributors and others at very high prices, and either they're going to have to sell them at a loss or they're going to have to let them sit there on the shelf until they can maybe move a couple. So that is one potential thing that I think might be a hiccup in terms of the graphics card market returning to normals, these much higher MSRPs and much higher prices that distributors have been charging for them. but we'll have to see. My fingers are crossed. I hope not. Let's play everyone's favorite game. Should you buy now or should you wait? Well, listen, if you're at the low end and you're looking to build a brand new gaming PC with, 1080p medium to high level of performance for under $1,000, or even 1080p, ultra details for under $1,000, I think the Intel's introduction of the i3-12100, and I said this in my budget gaming PC build, check that out. I'll leave a link down in the video description for it. They're giving you the keys to the kingdom, and they're basically all the other PC parts, SSDs, power supplies, others, except for cases, have gone way down. They are historic lows right now. So it's okay to overpay a little bit for the graphics card because all the other components are at historic low prices. So the total value of your system is still going to be pretty good compared to even like November 2020, which was the last good environment to build a budget gaming PC in. So I would give you the green light. If you're looking to build a budget gaming PC, check out my guide. I think the time is right for you. Everybody else who wants like much higher levels of performance, or you're looking to replace a graphics card and you don't necessarily want to buy something used, yeah, you're a little bit more of a kind of a yellow or red light, right? I think you're probably waiting until either the used market continues to improve, especially if you can't afford something like this. 6600 XT and 6600 are just got to be my go-tos. And I feel like one day we're going to look back at those cards and say, hey, in a difficult time, they were the RX 580 of a difficult time. Yes, difficult market, but that's a pretty good moniker for that. So just keep that in mind as you think about waiting. Is waiting 6 months worth it? How much money are you really going to save versus just going ahead and getting something and having fun right now? Imagine having fun, not worrying about graphics card, not constantly checking for it anymore, just enjoying your time and not feeling so bitter and angry at the world. That'll be awesome, right? So that I would just consider all the mental health benefits of just getting off this merry-go-round that we've all been on for a year and a half. For those of you who can't get off of it right now, either because you can't afford it or because you want like a 3090 or something like that, and you can't afford the $3,000 price tag on eBay for it, yeah, you're probably going to end up waiting until Ethereum merges and Intel introduces their GPUs middle part to late middle part of this year. That's the best we can do right now. I really wish I had better advice for folks, but just kind of stay the course for most people. Budget gaming, new budget gaming PC builders, green light for you. If you do want to get a new graphics card right now, and you absolutely have to have, for whatever reason, an NVIDIA graphics card, again, buy an AMD graphics card. Buy the 6600. I've got a 6600 XT. It's an amazing graphics card. But if you have to have NVIDIA for whatever reason, Newegg Shuffle is still your best friend. Yes, I'm pretty sure that Newegg is not going to make most people's Christmas cards list this year given what's happened recently, but they're still the best place to get a 3000 series RTX card for at least a somewhat reasonable price, rather than have to buy it off a scalper from eBay, right? So there you go. You scalper from eBay or Newegg Shuffle. Not great options. Again, consider the AMD alternatives. And of course, and I'm committing a fashion faux pas because clearly I'm wearing the same shirt today as I was wearing this other video, but I did just release the best pre-built gaming PC 2022. I go over what to look for in a pre-built. I give some very specific models. Pre-builds are still probably the best value, no longer at the ultra low end, but definitely in the mid-range up to the high end. They're still an incredible value because they get their graphics card for a fraction of the cost that you would buy it for, and they still get volume discounts on the rest of their components. Of course, the other great value right now is still buying a gaming laptop. Many of them are on sale right now, and in fact, the RTX 3060 line of laptops has had its price decrease quite a bit. Lenovo Legion's back in stock. I have a video that I released in the fall. You can check that out. I'll probably update that one for 2022 sometime soonish. But check that out. Another great value if you're looking to get gaming now and you don't want to buy a stupidly expensive GPU. Thank you so much for joining us on this month's GPU update. If you got value in the video, remember, give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. He really appreciates it, even though he's not paying attention right now. And of course, subscribe and click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. If you want to check out the budget gaming PC builds, yes, budget gaming PC builds are back. Check it out. Check this video out right here. You can see how we do it using the latest Intel and Ryzen CPUs with some amazing graphics card values for less than $1,000. And with that, we'll catch you on the next one.